Hey guys, it's Hayes with CheatSheetPros.com. Today is Sunday, June 29th, and it had been a while since I'd done a video, so we're going to take a look at some plays today. Yesterday, our plays didn't do real great, but we did have this thing we dropped in the chat, which did really well. We had Brewers, 4+ runs, Tampa, Baltimore, both teams to score at least one run, Abbott under 2.5. I don't do a lot of unders, but that just seemed really high. And then Clark Schmidt over 17.5 outs. And it was plus 421, which you can see up here. And then it jumped to plus 547 with the boost. So I had a unit on it, so ended up plus 5.5, which covered some of the other picks that we had missed. I'd posted some plays today, and we're going to walk through and kind of take a look at it. The free group, let me see. I don't have them in front of me. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look. So everyone always asks me like how I research games and what I look at. When you open up the MLB cheat sheet, the first thing you're going to see, let me see if I can get it up here, are these tabs down here at the bottom. So if you're new, down here you can see when you open it, give it about 30 seconds because what it's doing, it's going out and it's looking up the updated line. So when a team releases their lineup, it'll automatically update over here in our main tab, and you can see right here if it's confirmed or not. And then, of course, we have pitchers, we have hitters, we have the scorecard for props. If you do same game parlays, that's fun. We'll take a look at that. And we have our live lineups, which is, it's the same information, just a different way to look at it. On this same game parlay builder, this one's kind of fun. So say, for example, you're looking at this Philly-Atlanta game. Over here, a lot of people don't know this, but you can click this dropout, and you can see the last 7 starts, like strikeouts, pitching outs, wins, hits allowed, walks, earned runs allowed for the pitchers here. And then there's another drop down here, and you can look at fantasy score, home runs, total bases, RBIs. So if you want to see where the RBIs are coming from, for example, you can look and you can kind of get an idea where the majority of the lineup is coming with their RBIs. You can also take a look and see if people are walking a lot, where those are coming from, et cetera, et cetera. And then like strikeouts, if you're doing K-props, you can see, is the team striking out a lot? You know, like here, there's a bunch of strikeouts in the middle of the lineup. I'd say they average at least one a game for this top 4 or 5. And then we've got some other various stats in here. I haven't really focused on this tab. It's been here for a while, but wanted to bring it out. So when we're doing sports betting, one of the first things I do is I go to the betting board. We're going to go through, earmark some games, then we're going to look at them on the main tab. And there's a few games that I like today and a few games that I don't like, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at them. So flipping down through here, a couple of the columns I look at is this hits per innings pitched. Typically 1.00 is kind of about the norm. I don't know if that's the average, but that's kind of what I see. So if you see like, let's say 0.88, 0.93, I'd say these two pitchers, and this is over like the last 5 starts. 5 starts or 7 starts, hell, I can't remember. But those pitchers are pretty equivalent in the hits per innings pitch. Now, given maybe a pitcher has home road splits that are different, so over here in this column, I do the batting average allowed home for the home team and away for the road team. So, for example, like here's a big split. So Stroman at home, you can see overall he's got a 1.06, which is pretty average. But when he's at home, he's allowing a 360 average. So that's something that we want to take a look at. And then on here, Severino, he's got a 1.22, which is not good. So if you get over 1.2, those are pitchers that are struggling, giving up a lot of hits. They can get beat up a little bit. But you can see here his road average is only 211. So that would jump out at me as there's kind of a little discrepancy here that we would want to go look at if this is a game that we're wanting to bet. So flipping down through here, we have power play, we have last 10 power play. So power play is a big difference in my power ranking. Last 10 is if mine don't qualify, but the default last 10 game power ranking does. And if there's a big gap in bullpens, it'll give you a little bullpen advantage highlight. So flipping down through here, another one I look at are games over the last 7 with 4+ runs. You know, 5, 6, those teams are hot. They're scoring a lot of runs. And then I look at this last 10 record. If they have 3 wins or less, it turns blue, which is cold. And if they have 7, 8, 9, 10, it turns green, which is red. So here you can see there's a difference. So just glancing down at these columns, flipping down through here, Seattle, Cleveland. I don't really like anything here. We'll go over that game when we take a look at it. New York, Atlanta, Pitt, So Pitt Mets, this jumps out at me right here. So I'm looking at my power ranking and this power ranking, and there's a difference. Mine isn't as great as the last 10 default win, but the New York Mets right now, only 3-7 over the last 10 games. And then this shows me Vegas has them as a favorite to win, but they've only got 3 wins in their last 10. So that's a game that I want to take a look at. And just glancing at the pitchers, yes, it shows Montas at 0.6, Burrows at 0.91. That just tells me they're both solid pitchers right now. And then Montas only has 1 start, so take that with a grain of salt. So that's the game we want to take a look at there. We could get a potential big dog. Tampa, Baltimore, I love this series. They've been scoring a shit ton of runs. Taj and Creamer, the pitchers are about the same. I don't really have a good side here that I like, so I'm going to stay away from this one today. Toronto and Boston. Looking at this game, 4.9 to 4.6. This is the Vegas number. This tells me Toronto's a small favorite, so they're going to be minus 110, minus 115, maybe minus 120, somewhere in that ballpark. Looking at the pitchers, we have a huge edge. So our hits per innings pitched for Lauer, I guess is how you pronounce it, is 0.67, and Buehler is 1.48. So we have a big pitching advantage here, and then we can see Boston's only won 3 games in the last 10, while Toronto's 5-5. But then this tells me Toronto has a horrible bullpen, so Boston has struggled, but Toronto's been better, but then it flips. So once that starting pitcher comes out, that bullpen could blow the game. And we know Boston, they can drop some runs if they want to. So we would look at a first 5 here because we like our pitching edge. So that's one we're going to look at. Philly, Atlanta, I love this series, but I'm going to stay away from it today. Cincy, it's kind of the same thing. KC, Dodgers, this is a game we're going to look at. Milwaukee, this is a game we're going to look at. I originally was just like Milwaukee, run line, automatic, but I'm going to fade it today, and I'll show you why. Cubs, Houston, flipping down through here. Nothing jumps out. I started to lean towards Seattle, but I don't like Castillo giving up a 304 road average, so I shied that one off the list. Washington, LAA, this has been a really good series. Miami, Arizona, this is one that kind of shocked me and was on one of my free picks. So this here, 4.0 to 5.5, that tells me Arizona is a huge favorite. So yesterday we wrote up Miami at plus 130, and they won. It was a close game, I think 8-7, 7-6, something like that. They end up winning the game as a dog. So today I thought it'd be a little closer, but heck no, they're a bigger dog. They're plus 165. So this tells me that Arizona is a big favorite. So why do they need to be a big fave? So this is a game that we are going to take a look at. And then Detroit and Minnesota. Minnesota's just been absolutely awful. Detroit has not been great, but there's a huge edge in pitching here. So Paddock, 1.11. That's a little less than average, but Skubal, 0.71 is really good. So that's a game we're going to take a look at. So that's kind of the things I earmark on these games. I look at our pitchers, hits per innings pitched. If it's close, I'm going to look at home road splits on average allowed, and then I just look at these power bullpen rankings, last 10 rankings, and I get an idea of what I like. Now let's flip back over here. Oh, sorry, still drinking my coffee this morning. And let's start at the bottom and work our way up. So if you click inside this home team, it's going to give you, click inside the bottom, it's going to give you a drop down for the home team. And then, so we're going to look here first. So Detroit, of course, they're a huge favorite today. So typically what we do on these games that are big money lines is we'll take first 5 run line. So that means for your team to give up a half a run after 5 innings. So, sorry, my daughter's texting me, bring me up goldfish. So that's your team to be up at least 1 run after 5 innings. So you can get a much better line on something like this. Now, Minnesota, we're looking at them as a team. I'm looking at this saying, okay, they've won 3 of the last 9 games, so they're 3-6. And then these 3 games that they won, I want to kind of look at them and see, 4-1, 2-0, some close wins. They had a big game here. That's fine. They lost against Detroit last night, but then they beat them the night before. They're 9th in our power rankings despite being 4-6 over the last 10. They're not doing really good hitting average-wise, but then in all their counting stats across here, they rank really well. Detroit, they're kind of so-so. I think I wrote up they're 4-2 over the last 6, which we can see here. 3rd in our power rankings, hitting 279 as a team, so that's really good. And then they rank top 4 in our counting stats of WRC plus, home runs, RBIs, and ISO. And again, these are over the last 2 weeks, so this is a rolling 14 days. Bullpen, I'm always going to check this up here. Minnesota's bullpen hasn't been good over the last 14 days. It's 0-4 with an ERA over 7.5. Detroit is only 1-2, but they rank 9th. And you can kind of see the difference in some of these stats. Like walks per 9, Minnesota's putting up 4.5, and then Detroit only 2.7. So that's how you get some difference in some of these rankings. It's not just ERA or xFIP. But our advantage in this game is Paddock versus Skubal. So we know both of these teams are decent. There's a slight edge to Detroit. Now, Detroit is at home, and I always come here, look at the home record, so you can see they're pretty good both places, but at home, they're really good. They're 29-14, and you can compare their home road stats. So here we can see average pretty close, WOBA pretty close, ISO power pretty close, WRC plus pretty close. So they're good home and road, not a huge advantage here. You can also look at lefty versus righties. So you can see here they're really good versus lefties, but today they're doing a righty, but they're over 100, so I'm not too concerned with it. And then over here at Minnesota, they're 40-43, pretty good at home. But then over here, they are 18-26 on the road, so they drop a little bit. So you can see their average drops. They got a slight drop in their WOBA. ISO power stays about the same. Slight drop on WRC plus, but nothing alarming that jumps out there. And then looking at the lineup here, the Minnesota lineup doesn't look good. Over the last 2 weeks, we got 219, 229, 200, 159, 182, 184. None of these middle guys are really putting up any counting stats, so the lineup doesn't look that good. And then ISO power versus pitching hand, as you get down here to the bottom of the lineup, you've got 0.018, 0.063, 0.030. You got some struggling guys. Now, down here on Detroit, we can see we have a lot more counting stats in this lineup. We do have some lower averages, but Riley Green here hitting 408 and has an ISO power of 299 versus pitcher hand. So if I'm doing, say, Detroit and putting in a player prop to score an RBI or their hits runs RBI, Riley Green would be my go-to guy. He's hitting third in the lineup, 408. And you can see he's got a highlighted stat across the board. Torres leading off, he's hitting 364. BVP, you're not going to see a ton of history, but 9 out of 19, 474, that's a good sign. And Detroit's at home. But our biggest edge here is with Skubal over Paddock. So looking at Paddock, and if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I don't care, it's fine. I'm going to look at his home road splits. So typically on the road, he struggles a little bit more. His average goes from 234 up to 262. XFIP, 4 to 5, they kind of stay about the same. ERA jumps a little bit. So I'm going to look at his recent starts. So this is what's concerning for me. These last 3 starts, he's allowed 4, 4, and 8 runs, 5, 6, and 12 hits. So he had some good starts in here. He's always given up a little, almost about a hit per inning. And then I always glance here just at the last 5 averages. So he's going about 5 2/3 innings, gives up about 6 hits per start, and almost 4 runs per start. So that tells me Detroit, they can hang a few runs on the board. So they should score 2 to 3 runs in the first 5 innings is what I'm hoping for. Here he's given up a bunch of hits. He's given up a bunch of runs. He's really not striking anyone out. So Detroit's something we can go on. Now Skubal, he's coming off, the Oakland got him. 6 hits, 4 runs. They beat him up a little bit. That's fine. Prior to that, Pitt got him for 6 hits, 2 runs, but it's still Tariq Skubal. I mean, overall, he goes about 7 innings, 5 hits, 1.4 runs. And prior to that, he had a 4-game stretch of 0, 1, 0, 0 runs. And look, 9 innings, 7 innings, 8.2, 7 innings. So yeah, I'm just going to back Skubal here. There's not enough for me to go against it. And then you can see at home, he's allowing a 213 average, 0.89 whip, and an ERA xFIP both just over 2. So Detroit first 5. And sorry I spent a little bit more time going through that game, but I wanted to kind of show you all the things that I look at. So next one, Miami. So Miami's a dog here. I think it was plus 120. Looking at this game, I mean, yesterday we had Miami's plus 165. Yesterday they were plus 130. And sorry, my phone's going crazy. So yesterday it was plus 130. We put them on. They won 8-7. So today I figured it'd be plus 125 and I'd fade it. Fuck, they're plus 165. I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. They're a dog again, an even bigger dog. And so we're going to take a look at it. Arizona, yes, they should be favored. They're at home. They are a solid team, but not favored by this much. Power ranking difference, we have 6 versus 10. I mean, Miami's hitting 275 over the last 2 weeks. Look at this. They've won 6 straight games. Their bullpen's not bad. It's 7-1 with an ERA of 2.5 over the last 14 days. I mean, this lineup's pretty phenomenal. Look at these top 3 guys. I don't even know who. I know the 1 and 3 guys, but 278, 320, 346. I mean, that's not a plus 165 dog. And then you come down here, and Arizona's been doing pretty good. I'm not going to knock and say anything bad about them. But the bullpens are the same. Miami's hotter right now. They're hitting better, and they're a plus 165 dog. So we're going to look at these pitchers. And if it's somewhat close, I'm always going to go with the dog here. So Erod, his home average allowed is 280 with a 146 whip, ERA of 5.6. So not great. He is coming off of a good start, but it was against the White Sox, who are terrible. Toronto's been struggling. He had a good start there. And prior to that, you know, he gives up 5 to 6 hits and 2, 4, 6, 3 runs. So he's going to give up a few runs. And then I can't even pronounce Quantrill? I can't even pronounce that one. Kind of the same thing, you know, on the road, he's given up a 290 average, 1.4 whip, so pretty much the same as Erod. He's got some decent starts, but he's a little more consistent. So he's got 2, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1. So we could say he'll give up 1 to 3 runs. That's fine. Well, Erod, he's got some up here where he gave up 4, gave up 6, gave up 3. So to me, these pitchers are the same. So I'm going to take Miami plus the 165 here and put it in a round robin. It just seems like it's way too high. And then flipping down through these other games, say Texas, Seattle, we stayed off of that one. Houston we didn't get into. So Milwaukee, Colorado. So the reason I'm fading this game, and I want to show you this to kind of let you know how I process games. So you look at this on the edge and you're like, all right, Colorado sucks. They won 2 games in the last 10. Miami's rolling. They're beating everybody. They're number 1 in our power rankings. Colorado's 19. Yes, Milwaukee should roll this game. Run line should be an easy bet. Put it in there, no problem. However, I am going to fade it this week. I've done really good with Miami over the last 2 weeks, riding this hot streak. But Colorado is not terrible. You've got some guys with some good counting stats in here. You've got some good numbers. The top end, they've got some decent averages up there. Chad Patrick for Milwaukee. He's got 4 rough starts in a row, and so that's concerning for me. 7, 6, and 9 hits, 4, 4, and 5 runs. So in these last 3 starts, they've combined for only 15 innings. And then this is 22 hits and 15 innings, and then 13 earned runs. And then look at the walks, 6 walks on top of that. If Colorado jumped out and scored 4 or 5 runs in the first 5 innings, I would not be shocked. That would not shock me at all. But I'm not bold enough to back Colorado. Now Marquez, he's the one Colorado pitcher that I do like. And you'll see here, I mean, everybody in Colorado, they give up a huge average. Now on the road, he's given up a 340 average, a 1.8 whip, so that's concerning. But look, he had a home start against the Dodgers. He gave up 6 hits, no runs, no walks. That's pretty decent. And then his last 2 road starts, he's went 11.2 innings combined. He did give up 12 hits, which is normal, about a hit per inning, but only 1 earned run and walked 3. So those have been some pretty decent starts. So if he got off hot here, I would not be shocked. Now, he did have 9 hits, 3 runs, 7 hits, 2 runs, but he's not really given up a ton of runs. Now, if we throw out this home start of 4, I mean, he's on the road, he's given up 0, 1, 3, and 2 runs. That's pretty decent, and their bullpen hasn't been getting killed as it usually has. So the line is monstrous for Milwaukee. So even the run line was minus money. So I said, I'm going to stay away from that one. Looking at the Dodgers, this was just stupid. I opened up DK this morning, and it was minus 119, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Now, I live in Kansas City. I'm a huge Royals fan, Chiefs fan. I got to sit in a dugout suite when they played Tampa last week, or on Thursday. So that was a fun experience. I'd never done that before. But the Dodgers are just a much better team. I mean, we know who the Dodgers are. They're 52-32 on the season. Royals are 39 and 44, and for the Dodgers to only be minus 119, or even if you flip it up to the run line and get like plus, I think it was 125, 130, like why not? Like look at the Royals here. They had a 6-game stretch of scoring 4, 0, 0, 1, 2, 1. I mean, do you feel confident about, betting them at even money? No. Now, one concern is the Dodgers bullpen. It ranks 28th. The underlying stats are not good, but it is 6-1. But the ERA is still over 5, so that's kind of comical. Royals have a little better bullpen, but I mean this Dodgers lineup is just so much better. The Royals, their top few guys, they're doing really good, and then you get into this middle with Canna, Lofton, Caglione, and they're batting 077. Lofton's 0 for 20, and Caglione, man, that guy needs to pick it up. 5 of 39, batting 128 over the last 2 weeks. So lineup struggling a little bit, but we know who the Dodgers are. Ohtani, Mookie, Teoscar, Will Smith. Pages has been on absolute fire. 327, 13 RBIs, 4 bombs. Dodgers are just a much better team to pass up on here. Bubic is a great pitcher. I love the guy. Nothing against him. I mean, he's given up a 231 average, 224 on the season. I mean, those are freaking elite numbers. However, look at these last 2 starts. 17 hits in his last 11 innings. So is he starting to wear down a little bit? I don't know. Hasn't really given up a ton of runs. 2, 3, 5, 1, 1, 0, 1. So these were terrific starts here. No more than 1 earned run in any starts. And I look at kind of who he faced. Minnesota sucks. San Francisco sucks. Houston's been struggling. So not great power teams. But then these last 3, the Yankees got him at home for 6 hits, 5 runs. Dodgers, Yankees, equivalent lineups. Dodgers a little bit better, so I think they could tag him if they want to. And then he went on the road to Texas, who is ranked 27th for us in our power rankings. 9 hits, 3 runs. And then Tampa, 8 hits, but only 2 runs, so that was a decent start. I don't know who's throwing for the Dodgers. This guy pulled up, but it was still undecided when I looked on DK. No matter who they throw out there, no one's terrible. This would probably be the worst case scenario. 2, 1, 1, 4, 0 runs over the last 5. If Kansas City came out and won this game, would I be shocked? No, I'd be thrilled to death. But I'm, going to put my money where I think it's the most beneficial, and I think Dodgers money line, Dodgers run line is probably your best spot. Flipping on Cincinnati, San Diego, this has been a fun series, but not enough of an edge. Philly, Atlanta, kind of the same thing. Don't really have anything I want to dive into here. Toronto, I like this one, especially first 5. Like, if you're looking over here, Toronto 5-5, Boston 3-7. They did drop a 15 spot last night, but Boston is still only 24th in our power rankings, hitting 214 as a team, and their counting stats aren't real great. But Toronto, they're decent. They're hitting 269, 11th on our power rankings. They've struggled with runs, home runs, and power, but they're getting guys on base and doing pretty well. And you can see here, top half lineup, they got some good counting stats, some good averages, so we do like that. Boston just looks dreadful. Even after 15 runs last night, they only have one guy that pops into the highlighted category. And look at the middle part of this lineup, hitting 216, 188, 172, 233, and 156. So Boston has not been as strong. I mean, I'm not a huge Toronto fan, but I mean, they can scrape together some wins. Looking at the bullpens, neither one is great. 1-2, 1-4. ERAs of 4.1 and 4.8. But what I'm going after here is the first 5 line, and it's basically because of this one stat. Eric, whatever his name is, 0.67 hits per innings pitched, and Buehler 1.48, which is astronomical. So when we go down and we look at this, so Buehler over here, I mean, Jesus, look at these last 5 starts. He's earned runs allowed, 5, 8, 3, 5, 5. And then his hits allowed, 8, 6, 7, 10. Now, we had his hits allowed 5+ here, and I'm very familiar with this game. We lost it because he walked 7 freaking batters, and then with the 3 hits he gave up, it was 5 runs. So he couldn't even get the ball over the plate. So this start was absolutely awful. 4 innings, 7 walks, 3 hits, 5 earned runs. Terrible. 3.1 innings, 8 hits, 8 runs. And then Tampa, he did go 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs. That's a little better. And then Yankees on the road, 7 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks, not great. And then Atlanta, who isn't great, 10 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks. So Bueller's been struggling. Now, I love the guy. I hope he gets it back, but it's not there right now. In his last 5 starts, he's just been annihilated. And you can see, oh my God, his earn run prop's only 2.5. That seems comical. Let me grab a pen. I got to make a note of that. So typically what I do is I put like 2+ for like an alt earned run if your book offers it, because that just feels, you could even ladder that 2+, 3+, 4+, 5+, and get some good money there. This guy, I mean, he's decent. 195 road average. You know, look at his recent starts: 1, 1, 2, 0, 0, 0, 3 earned runs. So his last 6 starts, he hasn't given up more than 1 earned run except for 1 time. And his hits are phenomenal: 5, 4, 4, 1, 0, 0. Now, given he's not throwing a ton of innings, so you got to keep an eye on that. So 4 innings, 2.1, 4.1, 5.0, 5.1. But these last 2 starts, he's went at least 5 innings, so the first 5 is what we're going after. So in 10.1 innings, he's got 9 hits, 2 runs. Pretty solid. Toronto first 5. That's one of the plays I really like today, so I'm going to go with that. And I don't think I had anything. Oh, there's one more. This freaking game. Oh my gosh. So if you made it this long in the video, this is worth a shot. So Pittsburgh is plus 119, plus 120. So I looked at it and I was like, you know, they're a dog, but it's a small dog. Well, I was playing with the numbers, and you can do an alt line of just Pitt -1, not 1.5, but -1. So if they win by 1, you still get the push. You don't lose anything. But if they win by more than 1, it's freaking plus 175. That is huge, and I love that play. The first 2 games of the series, they've won 9-2, 9-1. So they've outscored the Mets 18-3. So Pitt -1 at plus 175 seems like a great dart to throw. They're only 21st in our power rankings. You know, they're hitting 256 as a team. They don't have great counting stats, but look at the Mets. 3-7 over the last 10 games. They've been outscored 18-3 in this series. They rank 25th in our power rankings. They're hitting 23rd, which is 226 as a team. They also don't have great numbers, so neither team is great. The Mets on the road are 19-24. Pitt at home is 22-21. Yeah, I understand the Mets being favored here, but you can't feel good about it if you're betting on him. Yes, Soto has been absolutely awesome. He's hitting 310, but Lindor is struggling. The bottom half of the lineup, they've got a lot of guys batting under 200. Pittsburgh's been decent. This 2 to 5 guys, McCutchen, Reynolds, Spencer, whatever that name is, and Gonzalez, they've been freaking solid. 279, 306, 361, 340. Heck, if they can scrape together a few runs, let's look at the bullpens. 19-17. So they rank the same, 1-3 versus 3-2. The Mets bullpen has an ERA over 6, while the Pitt bullpen has an ERA of 2.66, but their xFIP is pretty close to the same. WHIP is an edge over to Pitt, so Pitt doesn't have a terrible bullpen. They're not slacking there. And they're slightly better on offense, and then we can get a huge dog. Now, looking at this hits per innings pitched, 0.6, 0.91. For me, that's pretty close. So we're going to go down. We're going to take a look at the pictures. Montas, he only has 1 start. So looking at this, I'm going to throw his 0.6 out the window because it's only 5 innings, so it doesn't really mean a lot. So 5 innings, he gave up 3 hits, no runs, but he walked 3 batters. So that's a little bit of a red flag. So Pitt's going to face a guy that doesn't have a lot of innings. His arm isn't built up, and then they're going to go to the bullpen that has an ERA of 6. I think plus 175 is worthwhile at -1. Burrows, let's take a look at him. Now, his home road average is 280 at home, so that's alarming, but he's only got 28 innings on the year, so I'm going to give him a break and look at his actual games. And not too bad. So here you could tell he was struggling, 4 runs, but his last 5 starts, they've been pretty impressive. 0, 4, 1, 2, 0. So he had 1 start here against Texas where he gave 7 hits, 4 runs. Okay, he struggled, but other than that, this was only 2.1 innings, no hits, no runs, and a strikeout. And then here, 5 hits, 1 run, 4 hits, 2 runs, and then 5 hits, no runs, in 4 to 5 innings. So I would say he is more than serviceable and decent to keep them in this game. I mean, at plus 175, you're kind of getting into the numbers where you only need to win that, a small percentage of the time. Let's take a look at what that would be. So you only need to win that game 36% of the time to be profitable. So, yeah, Pitts outscored him 18-3. Everything's equivalent. I'd say pitchers, bullpen, Pitts at home, and we can get a game where we only need to win it 36% of the time to be profitable. That's worth a shot for me. Anyways, that's what I'm looking at. Good luck, guys.